Hey, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Top Gun Options Sit Rep or Situation Report. Matthew Buckley, call sign Wiz, and told you yesterday, folks, you're getting lured into an ambush. The whole buy on the rumor of a Fed rate cut and stepping in to save capitalism yesterday. Sell on the news. Buy the rumor, sell the news. And speaking of sell the news, we knocked out our primary live trade brief this morning. The trades that I covered are already up since this morning, $7,000. The one thing that I added to, folks, we talked about in the brief, but I didn't have time to cover it. I added a Nike bear call spread, the 95, 96 out to Friday. It's already up $450. Couple downgrades. A bunch of people are jumping on Nike's dead body. We're going to pound Nike into the dirt. So this is the one trade that I kind of mentioned in there, but we ran out of time. It is on the replay page, and the replay still has 21 minutes to go until it's rendered, so you guys can watch the replay from this morning's session. Let's step through what's going on. First of all, 3048 is that 200-day moving average. Where's the S&P 500 right now? 3050. So we're kind of battling this right there, that 200-day moving average. We gapped up above it because of the G7, and then Ben Bernanke, emergency 50. Ben Bernanke, wow. I'm dating myself. Jerome Powell, 50 basis point cut, and his press conference was awful. We're going lower, folks. We are going back down. I warned you yesterday to sell into yesterday's rip. That was not a bottom. That was a snapback, knee jerk. And at 2:30 yesterday afternoon, we watched it live. I told you as it happened. At 2:30, margin selling kicked in. A ton of people getting margin calls. And what happened exactly at 3 o'clock Eastern to the second? The New York Federal Reserve stepped in and bought indices, the Dows, the Qs, and the S&P 500. I know for a fact. Remember, folks, the Fed isn't a hedge fund. It's not a public company. They don't have to tell you anything. That's not true. It's the government. What? When the history of the financial crisis was written, did you hear what was going on Sundays and the Treasury Secretary calling Bank of America and you're ordered to buy Merrill Lynch and all this stuff? When did we find out about what actually happened during the financial crisis? Years later, and a bunch of people should have been in jail. But do not believe for 1 second that the Federal Reserve and this Treasury Department are not jumping in, folks. I know for a fact. I always say that this cell phone on my desk right here is worth its weight in gold based on the contacts I have. So, let's talk about what's happened so far today. The G7 finance ministers all met. Oh, they met in person? No, they didn't. They met via phone. Why? Because there's a global pandemic raging around the country and the world. Anyway, they said, we stand ready to address the coronavirus. Did you see the futures? I had a late night last night, man. I'm sitting here watching the Royal Bank of Australia or RBA cut rates in Malaysia and the Asian Open. And then the G7 met via phone and said, we all stand ready to address stuff. And the futures imploded like, whoa, where's our hopium, folks? We want to get drunk. And then what happened? Out of the blue, not even telegraphed. Well, actually, it was telegraphed yesterday, folks. I told you to buy the rumor, sell the news. Buy the rumor of the Fed cut and sell it when it actually happens. His press conference was awful. Anyway, 0.5 percentage point. I told my members in this morning's brief to remember the date and time. You ready for this? It was 3/3. That's today's date. 11/11. On 3/3/11/11, it was the end of the world as we know it in this respect. They injected 50 basis point cuts. This guy gave a press conference and more or less said, we can't fix coronavirus. And this guy turned into Scotty in the engine room of the Enterprise. He more or less, here's the translation. He said, Mr. President, America, politicians, we're giving you all we got. I can't give you no more, Captain. He poked, in a not so subtle way, other people to do their jobs. Donald Trump. The Fed is cutting but must further ease and, most importantly, come into line with other countries. We're getting screwed. The Fed needs to lead. This is awful. Wow. The Fed cuts 50 basis points and Donald J. Trump goes apeshit. I have warned Top Gun Options members for 10 years. I said, and we're very, very close to me making the biggest call of my career. What have I said? The Fred Sanford, the big one, the grab your chest and have a heart attack with the markets will happen when central banks inject liquidity and jump into safe capitalism, and it doesn't work. You are living in history right now, folks, because it don't seem to be working right now. Injection, and that's the S&P 500 today, folks. And we had now these positions are up 13 grand. What did I start with? 5, 7? We've already doubled in the time I'm talking to you. Now the market's starting to really, really roll over. So the Fed didn't do anything. His press conference was awful. So this is the headline you're going to remember for the rest of your life. Stocks drop despite surprise Fed rate cut. Interesting use of the word surprise out of the Wall Street Journal. I'd say emergency. And yes, it wasn't a surprise to me. I knew it yesterday when they stepped in at 3 o'clock that they were going to do something the next day. Trump urges more easing and cutting as Fed's independence is questioned. Told you I watched the Australia Central Bank last night and everything. I've had a blast, man. We are having an absolute blast here. You should have seen the comments we were getting this morning. Hey, quick heads up to, and we're going into this combat with the team we got here, folks. I've ordered support to. We're turning away folks right now. I'm not going to apologize. You could have been a member here for the past month, 2 months, as we called all this stuff. We are closed. We are not taking any new members here at Top Gun Options. I do not want the quality of our live trade briefs to suffer. It's already borderline, and might be booting some folks, to be honest with you, who just probably shouldn't be here. But no, apologies to all the emails and support. Like, hey, I want to. Hey, man. We'll see in April, I think, when we do our next full throttle. We're going to focus on the members we have and get airborne. This isn't I don't want a zoo. No zoos in my trading rooms, man. Governor Cuomo. So yesterday, it was Florida's governor declaring a state health emergency down here in the Sunshine State. New York City, second case. Where was the second case, Wiz? Manhattan, and then traveled to Miami. Did you see the governor's press conference? 8.3, 8.6 million New Yorkers. Do you know how many hospital beds they have in New York City, folks? 1,200. Where's all my this is the regular flu, stop scaring people, Wiz people. You do know that the current mortality rate of coronavirus is 3.6%, and that's a lie? Well, how do you know? Because that 90% of those numbers are based on what China reported. And based on satellite imagery and videos smuggled out of Wuhan, they've been burning bodies for weeks. Ain't no 88,000 cases. There's probably 1 million from my buddies who I talked to, and probably 500,000 people dead. But you just keep sitting there with your, this is the normal flu. Second case confirmed in New York. What's in Manhattan, folks? Anybody ever been to Manhattan or New York City? How about Wall Street? I'm hearing that they're probably going to close the trading floor of the. Look at that. Now we're up over 14 grand. New York City High School closes. Schools in Washington State are closed. A bunch of Iranian. What is it? 10% of the members of Iran's parliament have coronavirus, and a couple of them have died already. This is insanity. Secretary Mnuchin testifying on the Hill today, not considering a tariff rollback at this time. Okay, so when China is imploding here, let's keep kicking them in the gut. Who cares? Do you think China's living up to their quote phase 1 agreement? No. There will be some. So Mnuchin this morning, there will be some issues for the U.S. GDP this year. Can you define, Mr. Secretary? Congressmen are stupid. They really are. Listening to that, I'd be like, whoa, I need you to define what some issues mean to you, because some issues to me means this, and some issues. You're the Treasury Secretary. What's some issues? And here you go, folks, buried in the guy's testimony today, coronavirus will be worse than the flu. So for all of you people here sitting just absolutely thinking that the media is trying to panic and they're out to get Trump, you're an idiot. It is not the normal flu. And the Treasury Secretary more or less just told you right now, this is going to be worse than the flu. So I've been right on this all along, folks, for 2 months, and we've been printing money on it. I just don't get ignorant people, man. This is it's insanity. Just ignorant yourself right into the poorhouse right here, folks. Anyway, what else is going on? And how did I know yesterday that the Fed was stepping in and we'd also have a down market today? The three things you need to look at with a whole, now we're up 15 grand. Look at this. Maybe I'll just keep doing this brief so we keep making more money. You needed to look yesterday afternoon at three things: bonds, a massive flight to safety, and you needed to look at the VIX along with gold. 1,200 point rally in the Dow, Wiz. Gold was up. Volatility should have been down 50% with the biggest point gain in history. Yesterday's brief, 2-3 times in the free brief that you're watching this type of thing right now, my 2 member briefs yesterday, I told you, do not walk into this ambush. This is not the all clear. We are going lower. This is a dead bat bounce. Volatility stayed elevated. Bonds were a flight to safety yesterday as the market went up, and gold. Those three things, it was a bullshit, hold your nose, Fed rally. So we are living in history, folks. When central banks step in to save capitalism and save markets, and it doesn't work, we are screwed. So the Fed right now, ladies and gentlemen, is around to almost shooting blanks. What if we go negative interest rates? Look at Japan. We have some great Japan trades on. They're going to cancel the Olympics. You heard it here first. And we got puts and bear call spreads on the EWJ. And there goes the EWJ. Here, where's our EWJ trades? Right here. Bear call spread right there. I'm going to buy some puts in the EWJ as well. We did that yesterday in weekly options. So the S&P 500 puts I bought at the open are up $8,800. The bear call spread that expires tomorrow in 1 day is up $2,400. Brazil bear call spread for tomorrow for Friday is up $2,000. Another grand. I added to another bear call spread today when it went up. And I also have some March 6 39 puts on, some kind of disaster puts here. Apple bear call spread to Friday, $1,400. Just got filled on the Nike, $700. Great. There you go, man. We're having a great time. Okay. This is we're having a blast, folks. If you're not, you don't know what you're doing. Maybe you can, just be careful until we open up the doors again. Because like I said, I feel bad for a lot of people that are trying to stampede down the doors here in the TGO and they're closed. You don't take 1 million people into a fighter squadron. You take people that are motivated, had good brains on their shoulders to go, you know what? It's time to get airborne. So doors are closed. I'm sorry. If maybe, I don't know, you want to do private coaching with me, it's higher dollar. We'd consider that, but my time is really at a premium. I mean, hell, I got billion-dollar hedge funds giving me a call to ask me to do consulting and stuff like that. Why? Because we've been right. And I'm going to be right again. This 200-day moving average is not going to be support. What are you bullish on, folks? The market imploded last week on coronavirus around the world, not in the United States. Now it's in the United States. You're going to get bullish? Folks, where there's one case, there's a ton. Did you see Washington State? 2 people infected, then 18, then 20, and 6 of them are dead. 6 are dead in Washington State. If there was 18 people, I think the last number was, that was infected, do the math, folks. That's a 30% mortality rate. I know if people are like, oh, well, a couple of those were at old folks' home. Do they not have? I'm in God's waiting room in Boca Raton, folks. Who cares if it's in an old folks' home? The dude or the lady's dead. It's the mortality rate. If you're the type of jackwad who's like, well, I'm young and fit, and who cares about old people dying? Really? Really? I'm telling you right now, man, we are going lower. This is a make or break moment for now we're up 17 grand. I think we started this when I started recording this video. What was it, 13? something. There you go. Yeah, well, I'm good. That's enough. All right, quick reminder tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, we have Full Throttle Training session number 3. Full Throttle Training is you actually can get into. That's the only thing that is open here is our academic training. It's not live trading. It's at night. We're talking about puts and calls and straggles and all sorts of stuff. You can get into that because the market's closed, and I don't mind having a ton of people in there because I'm sitting here tonight with a glass of wine and answering questions and teaching what's tonight. Tonight's covered calls and cash secured puts and collars. So you can get into this. Go.topgunoptions.com/FT-academic. The live trading services are closed. The live training, we can still put some people in there. I don't mind sitting here and taking the time at night, markets closed, relaxing, and talking about stuff. Go.topgunoptions.com/FT-academic. $195 just for these 8 sessions that we're doing right now, or you can do $495 and get access to all the future this one obviously, and all the ones we do in the future. That is the deal. That is the best deal that I recommend you do. All right, I got to go. Let's take one last look at the S&P 500. Yeah, and it's pretty funny. I'm getting calls from billion-dollar funds asking me to do consulting and to tell them. I'm like, wait, aren't you a, quote, hedge fund? Aren't you hedged? Don't you trade options? What's an option? So, folks, out of the 10,000-ish approximate hedge funds in America, 9,500 of them are lying. They're not hedged. Most of them are long only, meaning they buy stocks and they sit on them. That's why stocks hovered for a while until reality hit it, because they didn't want to sell. Oh, we're going to ignore this currently what's going on. Well, that was stupid. And out of the 500 other hedge funds, only a handful of them short stocks, and an even smaller number do what? Trade options. So it's amazing to me. I'm talking to billionaire hedge fund managers about teaching them what a call and a put is. How'd you make $300,000 last week on puts? You didn't? And you're the smart money. Nice big house in the Hamptons, because you're stealing 2 and 20 from investors. Learn how to do this on yourself, folks. We break this low right here on the S&P 500, that 30-30. It looks like we're about to, with some serious airspeed, and it's look out below. We might have one of these $1,000 down into the close things, and we predicted it. Implosion, hover, implosion, hover, implosion, dead bat bounce, and keep going. No, that's not going to happen. So have a great rest of your day. I'll see many of you tonight at 7 p.m. The portfolio from this morning is now up $20,000. I started this video 17 minutes ago. It was up 13, and there we go. Men line numbers. Look at the puts we bought at the open. 12 grand. It's fantastic. All right, guys, going to be an awesome week here at Top Gun Options. Have a great rest of your day. God bless. I'll see you tonight.